Iran Daily Briefing. Saturday, April the 4th, 2026. A US F-15 was shot down over Iran on Friday. A US official confirmed one crew member was rescued. A second crew member has not been located and a search is ongoing. President Trump, asked whether the loss would affect negotiations, said, and I quote, "No, not at all. No, it's war." That exchange and what it tells us about where this conflict stands is our top story today. US and Israeli strikes on Iran began in late February. Since then, the conflict has expanded across multiple fronts: military, diplomatic, and humanitarian. Today's reporting covers strikes on Iranian infrastructure, aircraft losses over Iranian airspace, a speech from President Trump, and the UN Security Council's failed attempt to address the Strait of Hormuz. In this episode, the downed F-15 and what Trump said about it. New footage placing US missile systems inside Kuwait. Strikes on a petrochemical zone in Khuzestan, mounting healthcare casualties inside Iran, and a border crossing hit that killed an Iraqi civilian and wounded Iranian workers. We also have a domestic politics story out of Tehran that is worth your attention. Let's get into it. On Friday, an American F-15 warplane was shot down over Iranian airspace. A US search and rescue operation was immediately launched. A US official confirmed one crew member was rescued. A second crew member has not been located. The search continues. An Iranian state television station moved quickly, calling on the public to locate the pilot and offering a reward for information. That broadcast, reported by France 24, signals that Tehran is treating the recovery of any surviving crew member as a priority, whether for intelligence value, leverage, or both. A separate US official reported that a second US Air Force aircraft also went down on the same Friday. That account comes from a single report, and we cannot independently verify it at this stage. We'll flag it when more sourcing becomes available. President Trump addressed the loss directly in an interview with NBC. Asked whether the shootdown would affect negotiations, he said, "No, not at all. No, it's war." That framing suggests the administration is not treating aircraft losses as a trigger for pausing military action. Trump has also threatened to strike every Iranian power plant if a deal is not reached, a statement reported by France 24. In the same period, he complained that some NATO states are not permitting him to use their bases in the war against Iran, according to NPR. That last point is significant context. If certain allied basing arrangements are restricted, it has direct implications for US operational reach and the logistics of search and rescue missions like the one currently underway. What to watch? Whether the US publicly confirms the status of the second crew member, and whether any statement emerges from Tehran about the rescued crew member or the ongoing search. Story 1. HIMARS footage, Lydia. From Kuwait, France. 2440 verified and geolocated video footage showing US HIMARS launchers, multiple rocket systems, firing from inside Kuwait on March 24th. HIMARS is a mobile, ground-based precision rocket system. Its confirmed presence in Kuwait establishes that US ground-launched fires are being conducted from a neighboring country, not solely from aircraft. Iranian state media has reported casualties and extensive damage from strikes on the Khuzestan petrochemical zone, attributing those strikes to the US and Israel. France 24 also reported separate explosions heard at a petrochemical area in Khuzestan's southwestern region. We have these as distinct reports. The confirmed HIMARS footage from Kuwait does not directly link to either Khuzestan report, but they sit in the same operational picture. Meanwhile, 6 weapons experts contested the US claim that video evidence shows an Iranian missile struck a sports hall in Lamad. That challenge comes from a single report via BBC, and we cannot independently verify the experts' conclusions. But it is a direct, sourced rebuttal to an official US evidentiary claim, and it stands on the record. What to watch? Whether the US responds to the expert challenge on the Lamed footage and whether additional sourcing emerges on the Khuzestan petrochemical strikes. Story 2. The Shalamche border crossing strike. This morning, Saturday, April the 5th, a US-Israeli strike hit the Shalamche border crossing terminal at the southwestern Iranian city of Khorramshahr. Local time, 11 a.m. The strike killed one Iraqi driver and wounded 2 Iranian workers, according to Khuzestan Province Deputy Governor Valiola Hayati, as cited by the Iranian Students News Agency and reported by Middle East Eye. This is a single-source report. We cannot independently verify the casualty figures or the attribution of the strike. But if confirmed, this is notable for 2 reasons. First, the crossing sits on the Iran-Iraq border, meaning the casualties include an Iraqi national, not an Iranian combatant. Second, a strike on a border crossing affects civilian movement and trade, not just military infrastructure. What to watch? Whether Iraq's government issues a formal response and whether the casualty account receives additional sourcing. Story 3. Healthcare under fire. WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus reported more than 20 attacks on Iranian healthcare facilities since March 1st, according to Al Jazeera. We have this figure from a single source and cannot independently verify it. But it comes from the head of the World Health Organization and is attributed directly to him. More than 20 strikes on medical infrastructure in roughly 5 weeks, if that figure holds up, represents a serious humanitarian dimension to this conflict that is distinct from the military and diplomatic storylines. Separately, NPR reports that Iranians are traveling across the border into Turkey to access the internet because internet access has been cut inside Iran. That detail speaks to the information environment inside the country and to the limits of what ordinary Iranians can know about a war being fought in their name and on their territory. What to watch? Whether the WHO issues a formal statement or calls for an independent investigation, and whether any international body takes up the healthcare targeting question. Story 4. Iranian missile strike in central Israel. According to Israeli media, as cited by Al Jazeera, a claim we have from a single source, an Iranian missile attack caused damage across residential areas in central Israel. We cannot confirm the geographic scope or the extent of the damage beyond what that single report states. What is confirmed through broader reporting is that Iran and Israel are exchanging strikes. This account adds a residential dimension to the Israeli side of that exchange. What to watch? Whether Israeli authorities or additional independent sources confirm the damage report and whether Iran claims the strike. Story 5. Tehran's internal fault lines. 2 domestic stories out of Tehran today that belong together. Former Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif, who negotiated the 2015 nuclear deal, publicly called for an end to the war. The response from Iranian hardliners was swift. Iran International reports they branded him a traitor and accused him of espionage. An Iranian lawmaker went further, urging the judiciary to arrest both Zarif and former President Hassan Rouhani. These are significant political signals. Zarif is not a fringe figure. The call for his arrest, reported by Iran International, suggests the political space inside Iran for any voice questioning the war is narrowing fast. Also today, France 24 reports that Iran's Revolutionary Guards, the IRGC, have launched a recruitment campaign targeting children as young as 12, framed as defense of the homeland. That detail, placed alongside the crackdown on Zarif, paints a picture of an Iranian leadership mobilizing on every front, including against internal dissent. What to watch? Whether any formal judicial action is taken against Zarif or Rouhani, and whether the IRGC recruitment effort draws a response from international human rights bodies. We opened with Trump's statement that the loss of the F-15 would not affect negotiations. Here is the fuller picture. A U.S. official confirmed that one crew member was rescued after the aircraft went down over Iran on Friday. A second crew member has not been located. A separate U.S. official reported a second aircraft also went down on the same day. That account is from a single report and remains unverified. An Iranian television station broadcast a call for the public to locate the pilot, offering a reward. The U.S. search and rescue operation is continuing. Trump's NBC interview, in which he said, "No, not at all, no, it's war," took place against that backdrop. Several threads are worth tracking closely over the next 24 to 48 hours: the downed aircraft and crew. The search for the second crew member is active. Any update, recovery, capture, or confirmation of loss will be a significant development. Watch for a U.S. Department of Defense statement. The Shalamcheh strike, the death of an Iraqi national at an Iran-Iraq border crossing, has the potential to complicate Iraq's relationship with Washington. Watch for a statement from Baghdad. The UN Security Council and the Strait of Hormuz. Iran warned the Council against provocative action ahead of a scheduled vote. That vote was then postponed. The resolution is not dead, it is deferred. Watch for a new vote date and for whether Iran's warning had any effect on Council positioning. Zarif and Rouhani. An Iranian lawmaker has called for their arrest. Watch for any judiciary response. If charges are brought against either man, it marks a significant escalation in Tehran's internal political crackdown. Healthcare and civilian infrastructure. With more than 20 alleged attacks on medical facilities and a border-crossing strike killing a civilian today, the humanitarian dimension of this conflict is accumulating. Watch for a WHO follow-up and for whether any international body formally requests a humanitarian pause or corridor. Today's briefing covered the shoot-down of a US F-15 over Iran and the ongoing search for a second crew member, Trump's address and his threat to strike Iranian power plants, strikes on the Khuzestan petrochemical zone and the Shalamcheh border crossing, reported attacks on Iranian healthcare facilities, and deepening political repression inside Tehran. We'll be back tomorrow with everything that develops overnight. If you found today's briefing valuable, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. New episodes every morning.